15 years, blowing the doors off the competition. Podcasting to planet Earth.
PNRNetworks.com.
This podcast is a member of the Blueberry Network. Blueberry. No E's. That's Blueberry, BLUBRRY.com. Blueberry.com.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
This is a Class 1 emergency. All civilian traffic is barred from streets and highways. Stay in your homes. Stay in your homes. Stay in your homes. Repeat, this is a Class 1 emergency. All civilian traffic is barred from streets and highways.
Do not panic. Do not panic. We've got the quirky films for your quarantine blues. Subject Cinema presents Captive Audience Theater with T.C. Kirkham and Kim Brown.
Sites off for more movies. Not doing that one. I'm not watching any more Coleman Francis ever.
What you doing?
Just going through a list of sites I can find some bad stuff for the show.
Oh, that's great. You don't need that now.
Why?
Not for this show.
Why?
I already decided what we're doing.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Arbitrarily decided what we're doing?
Yep. Well, it makes sense.
Okay.
We're taking the direct approach.
The direct approach? Oh no! Not that! Anything but that!
No,
please.
no. You did that last week.
Well, I never get to have any fun.
You're going from Penfold to Wacko Warner. Is there any other, British-sounding cartoon characters you want to throw in there?
No.
Fine.
So there.
Okay. Well, I figured since we're doing this show, Captive Audience Theater, and we're talking about bad movies and stuff like that, and that's been fun in a painful sort of I want to gouge my eyes out kind of way, I figured instead this week we could actually do a show about a show talking about bad movies. It's a little meta, I know, but bear with me. Hi, I'm Kim Brown.
I'm T.C. Kirkham. Welcome to Subject Cinema presents Captive Audience Theater.
Da-da-da.
As we come to you during the crazy COVID crisis, the Triple C.
Yeah.
We'll continue to do these shows as long as we can.
Yep.
And as long as we have to.
Yep.
To keep you guys in mind that we're still here, even though regular Subject Cinema is kind of impossible with no new movies coming out.
Yeah.
So,
in the theaters.
In the theaters.
I mean, things are coming
and I
out
don't really
on.
watch Netflix and stuff that much.
No.
We did watch a movie the other night. It was great, but,
But we figured since, since you're home and a lot of people are saying they're bored, blah, 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 we figured what better way to spend your time waiting
watching terrible movies.
Yeah, waiting for the all clear than to watch terrible, awful movies. But
this week we're going to do something different.
Yes, we are.
You've heard us, if you've been listening to Subject Cinema over the years, you've heard us talk about SomethingWeird.com. SomethingWeird.com is a great site, adults only for the most part when you get into the sales stuff, because a lot of the stuff is not for kids. Mm-mm. It's not necessarily dirty, but it's not.
It's not.
Some of it is, but not all of it is. It was run by a great guy named Mike DeVraney, who passed away a couple years ago. His family's currently reassessing everything, and hopefully are going to have a streaming service online
That'd be
in early
great.
2021. But right now, there was a show that Mike was involved in producing back in the 1990s, and they have recently uploaded, a couple years ago, all the episodes to YouTube. Mm-hmm. It was a show celebrating the worst of the best of the worst.
Yeah.
Called Real Wild Cinema, hosted by comedian Sandra Bernhard.
Yes.
And we just watched all of them.
We did. Real Wild Cinema aired on the USA Network in the mid-90s.
95 to 97.
Yep. And it was a show that I found out about that I was instantly like, oh yeah, I'm watching this bad boy.
Yeah, this was before we carried Comedy Central, which where you couldn't really see Mystery Science Theater 2000 or Sci-Fi, wherever it wasn't where we could see it as yet.
No, it wasn't. So
you were going out of your head.
I was going out of. I'd had a taste.
Been exposed to it in Newport Beach one year.
I'd had a taste of Mystery Science Theater 3000 because it had aired on one of the stations that we could get to see down in Newport Beach, and they'd also done at least one special on MTV, but we couldn't watch it all the time, and I was really ticked off about that. Real Wild Cinema is a different sort of a show to that, however, where Mystery Science Theater, which we'll probably talk about at some point, is, a human and some bots being exposed to terrible films and riffing on them to keep
one at a time.
Yeah, to keep their sanity. Real Wild Cinema was basically bad movies, the Cliff Notes, I guess is the best way to describe it. I'm not really sure. Our intrepid hostess, Sandra Bernhardt, was the person that brought us these terrible films.
And we want to make sure we say her name right. She was always very picky. It's Sandra Bernhard, not Bernhardt.
Bernhardt.
There's no T.
You're right. You're right. I do apologize.
It's a common mistake.
No.
So,
So Sandra was the person that had to sit there and, introduce these dreadful films.
You couldn't ask for a better host.
No, you really couldn't.
Her droll sense of sarcastic.
She
was great as the hostess.
Her droll take on these films, and the fact that she was very offbeat, cheerfully upfront about the fact that these movies are terrible. Mm-hmm. It was actually kind of ironic because some of the things that were on this show actually wound up on Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Or Riff Tracks.
Places too, etc. and so forth, including Horrors of Spider Island is the one that just pops off into my head.
It's Bob Boxbody. No!
Oh, all right, anyway. The difference between other shows and Real Wild Cinema was that the point of Real Wild Cinema was that they would show small clips from these films with Sandra talking about what the film was about, and you got little bite-sized versions of these films, because let's be honest, that's all your average human being can stomach.
They showed a couple of clips, an edited version, like a short edited version of a full film, and some trailers. Plus had a couple of interviews on each show.
And these were movies that were painful.
Terrible.
They were usually also set up.
There was a theme each week, too.
There was a theme each week, yeah. There was one show that was all about ape movies. There was another show about, evil carnivals where bad things happen. There were a couple of shows about teens on the loose, a couple of more shows about anti-drug films.
Sword and Sandal films.
Nudie films, nudist cuties. Camp films, so on and so forth, etc., etc. And as TC was nice enough to mention, Sandra also had interviews where she would talk with people like the godfather of gore, Herschel Gordon Lewis.
Several times.
Yeah. David F. Friedman, Roger Corman, Mamie Van Doren. That one completely, I was like, what?
Vampira, and the one that really completely threw me off, Dweezil and Ahmet Zappa. I still haven't figured out what they were supposed to be doing there.
Well,
other than they were fans.
They were fans, and also I think one of them had a show on USA at the time. Isn't that when Ahmet had his game show?
It might be, yeah.
On USA.
That was long before they stopped speaking to each other. So
yeah. Another person
suing each other.
Another person that was an interviewee was Russ Tamblyn.
And Russ Meyer.
And Russ Meyer, yeah.
And
Tura Satana. Which I was like, okay.
Who was that?
She was in Faster Pussycat Kill Kill.
Her, right. Sorry. Her, right, sorry.
Yes. Yes. Anyway, going on. It was just a fun little show. I really enjoyed the heck out of it. I remember being really excited when I knew it was going to be on. I was like, oh, it's going to be great. Let's see what kind of crazy crap's going to be on this week.
It was originally on. I didn't. I was not into this stuff at the time.
No.
I at the time, I don't know. I didn't like the whole idea of misdemeanor films. I thought it was distracting. I grew used to it. I didn't have any choice. And eventually became a fan.
I corrupted him.
Again,
Yay!
we had that problem with wrestling, too.
I'm good at corrupting people. Yay!
Yeah, but I corrupted you.
Yeah, that's
I got
true.
you listening to Richard Marx.
Yeah.
And Eurovision.
Yeah. So we corrupted each other.
You know. But it's
a
having
great
watched all
show.
these in the last week and a half, and we watched the whole everything they had online.
Yep. Which you can find
it's a lot
on...
of fun, and I like Sandra anyway. I've
Yeah.
always thought she was quite a quirky person.
You can find them on the Something Weird channel on YouTube. And the neat thing about that is all the commercials are cut out.
Yeah.
So
except for ones they left in the shows deliberately, like these really old Playtex commercials for some reason.
Oh, well, that was part of the show. So
yeah, that was part of the show, but
yeah.
I'm saying they left those in.
Oh my gosh, those commercials.
They were both on the
Crying
Women
out
on the Run or the New
Yeah.
Cuties or whatever.
Yeah.
Bras, panties, girdles. It's like, okay, I don't know why
You can
need
go
to show
swimming
that.
in your Playtex, blah, 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 blah. You know,
Yeah.
I'm like, and all this, I'm like, they didn't show stuff for, well, you know what? They didn't used to show stuff for guys stuff, but they do now. They have those, I can't remember who does those commercials. The commercials for one of the underwear, they do a commercial for, it's a cartoon commercial with,
I know what it is. Yeah.
I can't think of
it either.
which line does that, but I'm like, wow, that's kind of a little late.
Well,
night
they
for
actually
me.
do Trojan Man commercials now,
Yeah.
too, which they never used to do. So.
Well, I'm sorry, but anything that's promoting, like, you know, keeping people from catching terrible diseases or unwanted pregnancies,
Yeah, I
I'm
agree.
Totally fine with that. But anyway, although those commercials are weird as hell.
They are weird as hell anyway.
Speaking of weird as hell, that
this
leads
show.
us.
And the show we're talking about,
That's
too.
why they pay me the big bucks, folks. The
Big
movies,
bucks.
yeah, I know. The movies that they showed. Although you notice one thing you were saying, you mentioned his name earlier. You dropped the name of one of the people that must not be named. You notice they did not show any Coleman Francis movies in Real Wild Cinema because even Sandra couldn't make those movies funny. I mean it. I'm not. Although to be honest,
even Mystery Science Theater 3000 could not make those movies funny.
they could make them. No, that's not true. Beast of Yucca Flats is funny.
Beast
with
of
it.
Yucca Flats is the only watchable one. I will never sit through Red Zone Cuba again.
You've made
and
that
for some reason, you are able to sit through the Skydivers with a straight face, which I don't understand.
Well, I like that one a little bit better.
I know, because of Petey Plane.
I like the PD Plane segment. I think
I
it's
can
cute.
sit through Beast of Yucca Flats even without the Misty because it's just so bad. It's hilarious, but it's because it's Tor Johnson. I love him. So
And he was quite a guy.
Yeah.
But I do think it's weird that they didn't have anything from Coleman
they
Francis.
probably couldn't get the rights.
No, I know, which is terrifying because that means somebody actually was like, "No, these films don't deserve to be treated that way." Are you serious?
Which is weird because he passed away in the 70s or 80s, and I'm like,
I think it was the 70s.
well,
I'm not sure.
He was a young man when he passed
Yeah.
away, and only in his 50s.
But we
I
should
think.
talk about the films that were
Yeah.
part of this.
Horror of Spider Island.
Horror of
was the one
Spider
we
Island,
watched.
yes.
That movie's hilarious anyway, but we only got that in a short little clip.
Yeah.
Usually they'd show two little clips of, I could do without the Doris Wishman stuff.
Yeah, that was the one person that I wanted to bring up. This show,
I'd
don't
rather
know if
sit
it's-
through something from Herschel Gordon Lewis than I would from Doris Wishman.
Holy cow. Wow. I can't believe you actually got that on tape.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Lewis's. For one thing, I'd never seen interviews with him. He was a very refined, funny gentleman
Yeah.
on these interviews that he did with Sandra. But
Refreshingly honest, because he knew he was peddling
he knew
stuff
he was
that
an
wasn't,
exploitative film
yeah.
person, and
yeah.
he didn't care.
Yeah.
I have seen some of his films. I don't mind them. They're garbage, but they're watchable garbage. I mean, Blood Feast is so freakingly bad. It's hilarious.
I think you like watching Blood Feast just so you can sit there and watch me blow a fuse. Because I just...
what?
About the whole plot of the film. We're going to talk about Blood
yeah,
Feast eventually.
yeah.
There's a plot point
Oh, we are, aren't we?
Well, we talked about it at one point. Depending on how
We're
long
still
this
making
goes
lists.
on
we
for.
can go on and on and on with
Yeah.
this show. If you like that,
There's
would
a
love
plot-
to see that. Subject Cinema at PNRNetworks.com.
There's a plot point in Blood Feast that they keep bringing up because it is focal to the film.
It's what?
Focal.
No. What
What?
is it? A what?
Focal point? What
No,
are you
never
going
mind.
for?
Never mind. I was trying to get you to do our usual joke there, and you didn't bother.
Oh, it's a focal point to the film, and it's important to the plot. And I kept sitting there. We're watching this film the first time, and we're watching it together. And I'm getting angrier and angrier and angrier until we finally got to one point in the film, and I was just like, "That's it!" And I completely went crazy for a 5-minute rant. And he's just sitting there going, honey." This is not something you need to lose your temper about, but anyway, we'll get to that at some point. But I'm trying to think of some of the films that were, like you mentioned, the films of Doris Wishman, which are, what would be the right word to describe a Doris Wishman film? What would you say?
Garbage?
That would be good. Uncomfortable, creepy, nauseating, making you want to run into a shower and scrub yourself till you bleed. I could just go on and on and on. I think the one that pretty much sums it all up is Indecent Desires. Was that the one? That was the one, wasn't it?
I don't know.
The one with the doll?
Something like that.
I think that was Indecent Desires, which is one of the most...
We've seen that all the way in its entirety on SomethingWeird.com, by the way.
Yeah, which is one of the most squick, cringe-inducing, oh my gosh, please make it stop movies I've ever seen, ever, in my life. I don't know what the hell was wrong with Doris Wishman. But anyway, and there were other...
And the type of movie she was making, she probably wished she was a man.
I don't, well, she obviously, well, that's the one thing. You watch some of these films and you're like, okay, so Mr. Director, how do you really feel about women? Wow.
Yeah.
Freud would have had a field day with some of these people. But Sandra presides over this with a very, she doesn't shame the films. Well, she does kind of shame the films, but she doesn't shame the actors in them because they're trying. They're working with what they've got. Even if they're bad actors, she's still very, I think, very kind.
Well, by that we mean bad actors, as in people who act, not bad actors, people who are out there causing all kinds of mayhem. Because that's what they refer to some of these protesters as bad actors, you know.
That's not, we're not doing that.
It's not where we're going.
We're not doing that.
Anyway, I just want to clarify that for our...
No, I mean people that actually can say a line like, all you people of Earth are idiots, and actually somehow manage to make that line even worse than it actually is written down.
They didn't do much Ed Wood on Real Wild Cinema either.
They did, not as much.
You would have thought he would have been perfect to devote a whole show to.
Well, they did do the Violent Years.
Yeah, they did.
Which, and I want to say
God
they did.
help us all.
I want to say they did the Sinister Urge, but I'm not sure. I don't recall exactly.
Yep.
But and there's a lot of little films, and there's trailers for terrible movies. Some of which I had heard of, some of which I never want to see ever. Because they were just, a trailer is supposed to make you want to see a film. When you see a trailer and it makes you be like, I would rather slam my hand in a car door than watch this movie, I think you might have done something wrong. But like I said, Sandra presides over all of this with more than a little bit of glee in her eyes, because I can't see how that could not be a fun job. Mm-hmm. Just talking about these, because for one thing, you as an actress are sitting there going, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I didn't have to do this, but yeah. I mean, it's like you might have been in a few bombs, but at least you weren't in Nude on the Moon or something like that,
yeah.
There's that. Terrible. It's kind of one of those look at it on the bright side kind of things. But if you get a chance, you should definitely check out Something Weird on YouTube, and check out Real Wild Cinema.
You go to their YouTube site, Something Weird, go to playlists and find Real Wild Cinema. All the episodes are on the playlist. You don't have to play the whole thing at once. You just go through the episodes. And play them anyway.
Yeah.
And it's just, we thought it would be a break because it's free, number one.
It's free. Yeah.
It's fun, number two. And it's different rather than going through the pain of some of these movies we've talked about and we'll continue to talk about.
Out of everything we saw in there, what in your opinion was the most painful thing that we had to watch?
Yes.
Thank you. That was really helpful. That was really, really helpful, hon.
There was a lot of painful stuff on that show. I don't know how they did it. They have They have wills of iron. Just like Hercules and Machiste and all those other ones they have those sword and sorcery movies.
See, that's a big problem. They one of the last episode I don't know if it was the last episode that they ran, but it was one of them. The sword and sandal kind of movies where it's, it's half naked, oiled up guys running around, saving people back in ancient Rome and stuff. You have a bad movie when that doesn't fail to hold my interest. Oh, half-naked muscular guy again. Yawn. Right. I mean, I'm sorry if that's your movie, and even I'm not looking at it. You have a problem with your movie.
Yeah. Yes, especially if you're half-naked, big muscular guy, because that's her favorite type.
I'm a woman. I have needs.
Roman
Don't
Reigns
judge me.
Like
Don't judge me. I don't know. I think the worst. The worst acted movie, I think, was that Teenage Gang Debs. That was bad.
Oh, the one with the 35-year-old teenagers?
Oh, that was bad.
All the gang ones were bad.
Well, all the teenagers on the Rampage.
Remember, this
movies,
is from an era where Steve McQueen, at 30, was playing a 17-year-old in The Blob.
In The Blob, which is considered a classic, but nobody went, what? It's, but yeah, for some reason, I mean, I don't know what the deal was with these people that thought, well, as long as somebody's under 40, they can pass for a teenager, that's fine. I mean, if somebody looks young, I'm not gonna begrudge them that. If they look young, great, and they still can play somebody younger than they actually are, go for it. I mean,
if they look young.
If they look...
These people did not look young.
There's that big...
They didn't look like they were a day under 25.
Yeah, two-letter, great big word, if. If you look young enough to play that age, but you're older, and you can keep that up,
if you happen to be blessed in the youth department like Tony O'Dell and Gabrielle Carteris.
Yeah. If you can actually pull that off and not have
if
people...
If you know who those people are, you get a point.
If you can pull that off and not have people sit there and go, really? Then, great. More power to you.
Yeah.
But in these films, especially, we mentioned it before, The Violent Years, one of Ed Wood's opuses. You have all these girls that are like, their parents don't pay attention to them, so they're out committing crimes and raping men, and, which was implied,
is that
not
the biker
shown.
One?
No, that was the one where they're all doing this, but they're still wearing their dresses and their little skirts.
Okay.
No, the one you're thinking of was She-Devils on Wheels.
She-Devils on Wheels, right?
Yeah.
Not gonna do that one.
But jumping back to The Violent Years for a minute, all of these women looked so old, I was like, well, no wonder she's dissatisfied. She's in high school and going through the change. It's like, she just needs some Geritol. She'll be fine. It's like...
She didn't look that old.
Well, close.
She wasn't part of the Lawrence Welk set.
The thing that cracks me up so badly about that movie is at the end of the movie, like almost at the end of the movie.
I can hear all of you out there going, who is Lawrence Welk?
There's more of them going, there's more of them going, what's Geritol?
Well, Geritol you can still buy.
Can you?
Yes, it's still on the shelf.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's a vitamin.
But there's this
aimed
scene.
at elderly people.
There's this scene almost toward the end of the movie where the girls are trashing a school and the cops show up and they start having a gun battle. And this one girl gets fatally shot and she's like, it wasn't supposed to be like this, guys. And I'm like, you're shooting at the police. What in the name of whatever you worship did you think was going to happen? They were going to go, oh my gosh, they're shooting at us. We should run away. No. They're going to shoot back at you, you dumb broad. I'm glad you're dead. I'm sorry. It's like, oh my gosh. The thing that really cracks me up about that film and a lot of the teenage delinquent films is that it's the whole... parents don't pay attention to the kids, so the kids are spoiled, and they're entitled, and they think the whole world owes them, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm sitting there, and these are films from the 1950s, and I'm going, I'm like, Gosh,
Yeah.
why does this sound so familiar?
Every generation has that problem
I'm
eventually.
like, didn't I just see people doing this on Reddit this afternoon?
Yeah.
Every generation, you're right. It seems like every generation thinks that the generation after them is spoiled and horrible, and I'm like, well, you raised them, dumbass. It's... But anyway.
Real Wild Cinema was aired from 11 to midnight on USA. Was it part of FLA, or was it on a separate night?
No, it was on. No, it wasn't on.
Part
like,
of Night Flight, I mean, or the beginning of Night Flight?
No, I don't think so. No, it was on. It was on that time period, but I think they'd stopped that by then.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't remember it being part of that.
Yeah, I think it might have ended a year or two earlier.
Yeah.
So you can catch all these episodes
on
YouTube, and you definitely want to go try them out. And Sandra's still out there going strong with roles on various shows.
Yeah, she was in the last not the last one, the second to the last one, I think. American Horror Story Apocalypse. She was part of that.
She's also on Pose on FX. And unfortunately for us, she was in Hudson Hawk.
Well, that was a while ago.
Yes.
Yes, but at least being in Hudson Hawk, for whatever good, bad, or indifferent, she can look back at her career and go, well, yeah, I was in...
At least I'm not, what's his name?
What?
David Caruso?
She was in Hudson Hawk, but at least she wasn't in Blaze Star Goes Nudist.
No,
I mean, that's pretty much all you need to say, and that's all you need to say about that.
Yeah. We'll have more of these crazy things in upcoming shows. We hope you'll keep listening as we continue to post them every 2 or 3 days, and we hope you enjoy what we have. Most of what we see is online. There will be one coming up later on that isn't. You'll have to rent the DVD. There's a lot of great stuff out there for you to listen to in addition to Captive Audience Theater. I assume we're not going to categorize this since it's not a movie.
Nope. Other than to categorize it and put it in our catalog as fun TV that I think a lot of people missed.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Forgotten gem.
We hope that you will check it out and check all of our other shows out, including Tuesday Digidix, Catastrophe Vortex, Ring Around the Rosie, Platinum Rose Roleplay, and everything else. You can find all the information on all of our shows and links to everything at ecinema1.com, ecinemaboston.com, and so on and so forth.
And if you want to find me on Twitter, you can find me at PlatinumRoselle@Twitter.com.
And I'm at ecinema1 at Twitter.com. You can check out our Facebook at Popcorn and Roses and Instagram at PNRNetworks. And until next time, when we do more terrible, horrible, scary movies, Subject Cinema presents Captive Audience Theater. I'm T.C. Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
May your popcorn always be buttered.
And may your roses always be in bloom.
Good midnight to you.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Subject Cinema presents Captive Audience Theater with Kim Brown and T.C. Kirkham. Produced by PNR Networks, Boston, Massachusetts.
years, blowing the doors off the competition, podcasting to planet Earth.
PNRNetworks.com